You are listening to the podcast A Resonant Life, produced by The Time Is Now Productions. I am Mike Thompson, your host and Reflector-in-Chief. In this podcast, we will discuss experiences and insights from living a life devoted to uncovering the authentic self and finding fulfilling purpose from the past, the present, and the future. This podcast is a product of my life and experience, and I'll share my opinions. Opinions between people are various, and we don't all need to hold the same ones. But it is fun to hear the opinions of others as it gives us an opportunity to freshen up our own. If you enjoy and gain insight from listening, please subscribe and share. If you have questions, please email them. And as always, nothing you hear here is a proscription or a prescription. It is a discussion of life and life's internal and external experiences. So let's get to it. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your time to work on our shared project of creating abiding happiness in our lives and the lives of others. Our project will ultimately create more peace and contentment in this turbulent world we share. So if this is your first episode of A Resonant Life, special welcome, and I hope you will uncover and discover ways, means, and methods to cultivate more abiding happiness for yourself and others. That's what we're about. And as I often say at the beginning of these episodes, when we each engage in efforts like these, many small efforts come together to make big impacts on this world and all those living in it and sharing it with us. And that is something to celebrate and take satisfaction from. So lately, I've been exploring the idea and experience of gratitude with a capital G. I have this suspicion that it is a profound, I don't even know what to call it really. A profound emotional state, a feeling, an idea, a thing. What is gratitude actually? You can probably tell that I'm struggling with it, trying to define and encapsulate it just for my struggles right now to try and describe it, what our topic is. And I've been on this for a number of reasons. One is, there is an important expression in Shinyo Buddhism made by one of the founders. Her name was Shoju Shinin, and she said that gratitude is the first step to enlightenment. This just grabs me and holds my attention. It makes me want to understand more deeply. It's such a simple statement, but somehow it just touches me deeply. Another reason I've been exploring the idea of gratitude is it's more psychological. I've noticed that I feel much less frustrated or less powerless or overwhelmed when I'm also feeling a sense of abundance in my life, like everything is okay feeling. This is as opposed to me feeling sad, angry, and depressed, by the troubles in the world and the challenges in my life. Basically, those times when I don't have that feeling of everything is okay. In fact, those feelings arise when I'm feeling everything is not okay. Finally, it occurred to me that gratitude it's not just simply feeling thankful. Certainly feeling thankful is an aspect of gratitude. But digging into it, thankful is thankful. And it's not the sum total of gratitude. Now, maybe this is obvious to you. So maybe I'm just stumbling into things you already have a grasp on, but I'm going to keep stumbling forward here. So I guess the best place to start is with number two, the psychological aspects. And I guess this is a bit binary. My inner sense and my perception of the outer. The state of my inner sense is like okay or not okay. It triggers a different response to my perception of my outer situation, even though the outer is essentially the same, right? What is going on around us is essentially what it is. It is what it is. It is our inner perception which changes or which can change in relation to that outer stuff, activity, situations. Okay, maybe confusing. Outer. What is the outer? There are so many kind of bits of this outer thing I'm talking about. Okay, I'll get specific. Number one for me, my response to outer situations is tied up in my reactions. It's tied up in my reactions to and outrage to rapacious capitalism, big things, right? And its impact on people, on individuals. I get so furious at the way companies say discard employees through layoffs, profit first, reduce costs, or the way they buy political outcomes, or the way they're willing to pollute, exploit, cheat to increase profit for the company and secure bonuses for executives. People last, profits first. It drives me crazy. Yeah. Number two, climate change and our seeming inability to make the necessary changes, reduce emissions, and whether it's national politics, corporate practices, individual actions, the lack of real movement to taking care of this problem that we're facing, this global catastrophe that's coming, it just makes me feel so powerless. And then number three, as a U.S. citizen in particular, I'm confounded, just confounded by the breakdown in political discourse, the disagreement on basic truths and facts, and the inability to compromise or agree on anything. And this trend is spreading to every country in the world, it seems. It is really existential. There's just so much. And I know in past episodes we've talked ways of dealing with this and becoming happy and making change, but still, sometimes, right? Okay, number four, personally, my life, the outer. This is the outer of my life now. I worry about finances. Being in my early 60s, I worry, will I have enough money to survive for the next years? That means, And I worry about friends. I worry about my parents and my brothers and their families, about my in-laws and their families. The list of personal worries and concerns can be endless, and I won't bore you more with it here, as I'm certain you have your own personal worries as well. So we've all got our things, right? Worries and concerns. Stress from school or money worries or family concerns or problems and conflicts with friends, work stress and challenges, toxic bosses, hurts and betrayals. It's just a pile of awful sometimes, right? And overwhelming when we let it overpower us. So, okay, now I'm not feeling very happy right now. So let's figure out psychologically how to dig out of this. And I'm going to rely on some of the mind hacks we've tried before. They work. So let's do them, okay? So here I go. 1, I acknowledge that I can't really change others on any level or scale. What I can change is myself. Okay, I acknowledge this. 2, when stuck in negativity, like I just described, like I'm feeling a little bit right now, when stuck in negativity, the best way out is to do what is not intuitive. So, I will do something for someone else. I will take a concrete positive action for someone else. No hooks, no conditions. Number 3. In my heart and mind, I will extend wishes. Prayers if you prefer. I'll extend prayers of generosity, grace, and giving by extending unconditional wishes for the happiness of everyone, without condition. Starting specifically with those around me, but let that spread out. I'm going to let that roll out as far as it will go. And finally, number 4, this is from our last episode on the power of apology. I will focus myself on respect, no judgment, acceptance. Respect is extending grace again. Extending grace to others. No judgment is admitting that I don't need to be right or in the right. I don't need to assert that. I don't need to push that out onto others. And acceptance is being willing to embrace the diversity of people, the diversity of opinion, the diversity of thought, accepting things and people and situations as they are. Kind of allowing everyone else to be right, again, without asserting my own rightness on top of that. And as we know from previous discussions, that doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It just means I'm giving the space for others to be without trying to change them or correct them. Because remember, number 1, I can only change myself. Okay, psychologically, this helps. I feel better, right? It pulls my thinking and my mind from ruminating on things I can't control or change and puts my focus on that which I can influence and change. Specifically, my own positive thoughts for others and actions, also focused on others. That's what I can change. Okay. Let's look at this from the other angle I've been turning over and over and thinking on. Basically, a Buddhist perspective, inspired by Shoji Shinin's teaching I mentioned earlier. Let's look at it from that angle, that gratitude is the first step to enlightenment. Now, in Buddhism, we know from the sutras, the historical teachings of the Buddha, that he said that being born human is the best possible type of birth for pursuing enlightenment. It is often referred to as precious human rebirth. And he went further and deeper into this to help others understand. It is even more special, this human birth. It is even more special and optimal when one is born human and has been born in a time when the Buddha's teachings, the Dharma, are being taught. Finally, it is even that much more precious that one is born human during a time when the Buddha's Dharma is taught and in the circumstances where one can not only encounter the Dharma, but have the opportunity to hear it, to meet practitioners, and have the capacity, will, and ability to practice oneself. He underscored the rarity, the preciousness, and literal miracle of all these things coming together by sharing a short, I guess it's a parable, story. So, being born human and meeting the Dharma and being able to practice is as rare as a blind sea turtle swimming in a vast ocean, coming to the surface for air, and by sheer chance putting its nose through the hole of a piece of wood that is floating on that vast ocean. Pretty slim chances. For Buddhists, meditation, this train of thought, you can even call it a thought experiment. It's several things. First, it is a call to action. This rare opportunity cannot be wasted. It must be used. We must make use of this life to practice before the opportunity is gone. Secondly, it is a meditation which helps to consciously cultivate gratitude. Gratitude for being born human, born here and now, with Dharma in the world, and born able to encounter, entertain, consider, and practice. The rarity of this in the Buddhist context is incomparable. How blessed and fortunate we are. Big gratitude, right? We don't need to keep this all sitting in a traditional Buddhist context either. We can kind of modernize it and reframe a little bit. So we can use this to lift us now, to plant the seeds of gratitude in our hearts and minds right now. We have life. And because we are negatively impacted by the world's and other people's troubles, it shows us we have compassion and empathy. Being affected by those things means we have compassion and empathy. It's there. Our negative, wounded reactions are signs. We have compassion in our hearts. We are empathetic. And with life, compassion and empathy, these rare things, we can act to change ourselves to improve the world. This is precious. Our capacity to become discouraged and distressed and sad and overwhelmed, even depressed. These emotions point directly to the capacity of our hearts to care, to rise above our genetic drives for superiority and conquest, and zero-sum thinking, to rise above and to extend help to others. So being moved and affected by negativity, it's like an alarm clock to remind us to engage positively in our worlds with those around us in any and every way we can, and not to hesitate, not to hold back, not to wait. Sadness is a reminder. Hurt is a reminder. Stress is a reminder. Anger is a reminder. How precious is that? How blessed and fortunate we are. And these feelings of blessing and fortune, they're not in comparison or relation to others. They exist simply as a feeling of wonder that we have this opportunity and this capacity in our lives. And thinking this way, meditating this way, what is happening right now? What is happening right now? For me, I'm feeling the warmth of what I think must be gratitude in my heart. It's like a small light, and it's growing larger and warmer. Can you feel it? Can you feel it too? I hope so. Okay. My third train of thought. Gratitude is more than being thankful. So it is something deeper, more complex and multifaceted. And I think we're starting to touch on it. I think we just started to touch on it here. And I feel like I'm beginning to understand it more deeply as we go through this, actually to feel it more authentically. So let me change up the words a bit. I feel thankful that I have a life where I can help others. Thankful that I can care enough to be angry about injustice and want in the world. I'm thankful that I can wish to overcome intractable differences, to come to some middle ground of agreement. I have a heart and mind that cares. I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful that I can see that frustration, hurt, jealousy, anger, all kinds of negative emotions and reactions. I'm thankful that they are opportunities to react positively instead of negatively. Is this feeling of thankfulness touching on gratitude? Yeah, I believe so. But I can't help but feel that the gratitude is still bigger and deeper. So I'm still here with my original project, understanding more deeply what gratitude is and knowing how to cultivate it. So let's try something. Will you do a short meditation with me? Let's do it. Let's get centered and slow and deepen our breathing, okay? So as I sit here, I'm feeling prayerful. As I work on this understanding with you, I feel meditative, calm, centered. If I close my eyes and rest in this, it's like doors are opening. Doors are opening up and walls are coming down. Barriers are dissolving. I can feel my mind spreading out rather than being contained or boxed in. It's spreading out. And in those vast spaces of my mind reaches out toward, there are others. There's a sense of these others as being my ancestors, my predecessors, the multitude of those who came before me, who I am a reflection of. A reflection in terms of culture, values, genetics. I did not become me on my own. And there are others too, friends in this spaciousness, friends and family, my connections to them, the shared experiences we have, those who supported me and made me who I am right now. There are my school teachers, the parents of childhood friends. There's all of you from a resonant life, my fellow travelers in a resonant life. There are those I've helped, and there are those I've hurt. There's just a multitude as the spaciousness expands. An infinite multitude of people whose lives and actions and gestures and inventions resulted in me, those from the past, the present, all of them resulting in me here, me right now, me as I am. And while I am not perfect, while I make mistakes and cause hurt sometimes, while I can be selfish and self-absorbed, I can also be kind. I can be sincere, generous, giving and helpful because of you, because of all of them, those who have helped me to be who I am here, now. Meditating on the vastness of this, I realized just how truly blessed I am to have this life and to be able to embrace it and use it to touch others, to help, to support, to nurture, to care, to unlock the blessings in others, to help them unlock their own blessings as I unlock the blessings in myself. Do you feel this too? Can you feel this vastness and all the support you've had, seen and unseen, known and unknown, invisible support, practical support? And what do you feel in your chest as you meditate on this feeling? It can't be described. Words don't exist, but it can be pointed to. This is, I think, the heart of gratitude. It emerges when we acknowledge we are not self-created, not solo agents, not the creator of our lives so much as the manifestation of many forces which resulted in our lives. Gratitude comes when we stop taking credit for our successes and deflecting responsibility for our failings. Gratitude comes when we surrender the strong sense of me and I to that larger amalgamation of life that came together to form each of us. That's the gratitude we can point to. That's the gratitude we can experience. Okay, well, I hope this was meaningful for you, that you could feel or see or experience that sense of vastness and interconnectedness. The realization that we are not alone or singular, but rather amalgamations of lives and matter and energy and history and opportunity. I'm going to try to remember this feeling and to go back to it, to meditate, to see it again more deeply. This is a path to awakening, a path where all of our actions become altruistic without thinking about it. That is definitely a path leading to the emergence of our authentic selves, the realization of the Buddha's teaching, enlightenment. And that creates peace. Thank you for joining me today. When you're down or defeated or sad or hurt or overwhelmed or all of the above, I hope you'll also return to the place of spaciousness that we discovered today. It will remind us that we're more than the sum of our parts, and we can rise above adversity and be engaged creators of peace in this world. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to hear more, please subscribe and share. If you'd like to share your own experience, thoughts, or ask a question, please send an email to mike@resonant.social. With gratitude, theme music is courtesy of Stock Audios, distributed by Pixabay. A Resonant Life is a podcast from the Time Is Now Productions.